Hey Spirit Inspired people, it's Imani here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another Spirit Inspired talk, which is slightly different because it's more of a study tip video. So it'll be helpful to anybody who is studying or planning to study at the moment. This study tip video I tried to do or planned to do back in January, but I'll explain why I couldn't do it back then. But to give a quick introduction, about a year and a half ago, after a big change in my life, basically my father passed away, I decided to take a leap of faith and pursue a professional accountancy qualification with AAT. The type of qualification is not too relevant in this video. I think this would apply to anything that you were planning to study or studying at the moment. What I found is that there are so many levels to the experience of studying again, for me anyway. In my 40s, it's very interesting. I'm enjoying it. And I've learned so much, not just about accountancy, but about myself. And because I'm this age, I'm a mother, a content creator, choosing to study with all the other responsibilities that I have in my life, I feel like I have some helpful tips to share with anyone that may be in a similar situation, especially since I have this platform anyway. Some of these tips you may already know, and some of this you could find useful. But these are the things that have helped me to get to the point that I'm in the qualification, which is halfway through. So I'm part qualified now. I've passed every exam the first time, except for one, bar one, that I attempted straight after the first lockdown. So I had a long break and I thought that I was ready, but it turned out that I wasn't quite ready yet, but I managed to ace it the second time. And so anything that I can do to help you avoid retaking exams, because who wants to retake an exam? No one, especially a professional qualification where there are substantial costs involved. At the beginning of the year, before the lockdown was announced, I planned that I was going to do a video on the importance of scheduling and creating a study plan towards your exam and how you could go about it. I drew up a study plan with an aim to completing my next exam around now, I think. And of course, everything changed. I was now faced with homeschooling the children again, and it was just going to be too much of a distraction. Well, thank God the children are back and at school, and I'm not going to do a new schedule. I'm just going to rejig a few things, change a few dates. So it's looking forward to a future exam date, which I hope to do in a few months, and to just explain why having a study plan is so important, because when things go wrong or not according to plan, you still have something to come back to look at and review what you need to and just put yourself back on track. If it's all in your head and you have a full lifestyle, it's difficult to know where to begin when you've had to have a break and then you just end up procrastinating. So I thought, what a good opportunity to go back and look at the schedule that I did together with you and put myself back on track, because I know you are all rooting for me. I really want to complete the last few exams I have this year. So let's just get to it. So here's the planner I'm using. This was kindly given to me as a Christmas present, but you can use a calendar, a diary, a planner. I use all of the above. As many places where I can have a reminder of my schedule, the better. But what I like about this planner is that it has a timetable section at the back, which I'll show you. So yeah, so there's some pages at the back where you can use this timetable page to plan out your study schedule. So I like to work backwards by first deciding when do I ideally want to take my exam. So I check my diary. It's really important to me to look at what would be the prime week for me to do the exam. Are the children on a holiday? Do I have any other things going on that week? Because a busy week would really impact my time that I have for revision. I even check if I'm likely to be premenstrual. As my ladies will understand, that will also have an impact on my frame of mind for that week. So when I've identified the optimum week for my exam, I give myself ideally 2 weeks of revision, and I've indicated that with the green pen here. So these are 2 weeks of revision that I'll be doing on that particular subject. This is just for one subject that I'm doing. Revision week for me is just purely doing mock exams, doing past questions, doing mock questions, and just reviewing any of the modules or particular subjects that I didn't quite get a handle on. It's a really important 2 weeks for me, far more important than the weeks before, but I'll show you exactly what I do before that. What I do next is go into the contents page of my actual study text. This is the study text, and I go into the contents page and I look at the number of chapters that are in this particular module. Obviously, not every chapter is the same. Some are longer than others, some are a bit more involved and need a little bit more attention than others, but I roughly estimate that I would like to ideally complete 2 chapters a week. With my schedule, for me, that is easy for me to handle. So looking at the chapters we've got here, we've got 9 chapters. So that's roughly 4.5 weeks for me to complete this whole study text. It's an estimate. It's an estimate, but this has worked for me, as I've found that if one chapter takes me a day, then I have a little bit longer on the next chapter, which may be more difficult. And in the end, my time is balanced out. Also, if something comes up and I'm not able to study a few days, I can look and see where I'm up to and how much I have to do to catch up. If that means doing some few late nights studying, then I'll fit that in to get myself back on schedule. What I don't do is spend too much time struggling on a chapter that I'm finding difficult. My aim is to get through the study text, get a grasp as much as possible of every module, and then use my time during the revision to really get the full understanding that I need to pass the exam. Sometimes it's more about how you answer the questions in the exam and knowing the type of questions to expect than understanding every single detail that you've read in the study text. So now all I have to do is change the dates that I have written on the side of this particular timetable, because it's starting from January up until February. So this is where I go into my file of facts, check the calendar for the year, and look at where we are now. So this is my birthday week. It's the 16th of March. So this week there's going to be no studying done at all. It's birthday week. I won't be focused. So I'm going to start my schedule from next week, which will be week beginning the 22nd of March. So that will be week 1 of study. Week 2 will be week beginning 29th. Following week would be week beginning 5th of April, so that's 3 weeks. 12th of April will be 4 weeks. 19th of April will be 5 weeks. So if I'm going to give myself a good amount of time for the study text, I like to give myself extra. There's no pressure here. So that's 5 weeks I've given myself to complete the study text, which will end by 25th of April. And then the 2 weeks after that, so that's week beginning 26th of April and the week beginning 3rd of March, those will be my revision weeks. So what I would do is on the 26th of April or around that time, and when I know I've got the beginning of my revision, I will book my exam. You can normally get an exam within a week or 2 weeks, but if I put a note there that I'm going to book my exam this week, so hopefully I should be able to get an exam date within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So let me just go and do this. I'm going to use a red pen so that I can cross out. So this was supposed to start from the 4th of January, and obviously that didn't happen. So this is going to be now the week beginning the 23rd of March. 23rd of March. Next is the 30th of March. Next is the 6th of April. 13th of April. 20th of April. 27th of April. So here, actually, revision week is actually the 4th of May. So that's when I will start my revision. That's when I will book the exam or have a look at what exam dates are available to me, and hopefully I can get one within 2 weeks. So revision week will be 4th of May and the week beginning the 11th of May. So ideally, hopefully I can get an exam for at least by the end of May 2021 to complete this particular subject. So that's how I work out my study schedule. And if you noticed, if you look at the individual days, you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I block out 2 hours a day for study. And I've written here chapter 1. Chapter 1 goes on for 3 days. And then chapter 2 goes on for another 3 days, bringing me into the next week. And I carry on writing each individual chapter and where I think I should be, what chapter I think I should be. And like I said, this could change depending on the difficulty of each chapter. So I could actually finish earlier than I expected, but it's good to have an idea just in case there is a break. Like I said, I can come back and say, okay, I should be on chapter 5. I'm still on chapter 4. I'm going to give myself some extra hours of study so that I can catch up and be on chapter 5. Also, you might notice that at the beginning of the year, I put here Xero, which is an accountancy software. And the plan was to actually complete studying that. You get a certification for studying Xero. And I was going to block in an hour every beginning of the week until I finished that. And thankfully, you'll be pleased to know I actually did complete this Xero certification. So it has not been a waste this year. I have actually managed to get something done. Something has been achieved. So I can cross that off as done now. Some very satisfying ticks I can put here. All done. Don't need to do this Xero certification anymore. So that's how I schedule my study plan. It has worked for me thus far, and I hope you found it useful for anything that you're embarking on at the moment. I'm really looking forward to next week and just starting on schedule and getting back on track to completing this qualification. I want to finish it by the end of the year, but you know, I'm not putting too much pressure on myself because it has been a tough past year. I need to get myself back into the groove of things, but I'm sure I can do it. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope that was useful, watching me replan my study schedule. Hopefully that will help you plan yours. And it definitely, if you've had a break, if you're thinking about sort of how you're going to get back into it, get a schedule, get your study plan together. It will really, really help you. I have a few more tips I'd like to give in the future, especially as I'm starting to take my exams again. So look out for them. In the meantime, keep taking spirit-inspired actions and do it in style.